this morning will be mainly on pediatric hematology. And our learning objectives are the following. No? So simple lang, but focus focus on the common hematologic disorders. Ano ba yung dapat malaman ng third year medical student? So physiologic anemia, iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, hemolytic anemia, ITP, and hemophilia. Among these 6 disorders, IDA and ITP, bread and butter of general pediatrics. Okay, so alam niyo na itong ano to eh. Same lang naman yung nakalagay dun sa aking binigay na asynchronous. Okay, so ito ibig sabihin lang nito na blood, may cellular elements and may liquid portion. Pagka cellular elements, you have the red blood cells, white blood cells, and the platelets. While the liquid portion consists of plasma which contains the coagulation proteins. So ang cellular elements, pag RBC, may problema sa RBC, mababa, it's anemia. Pagka sobra naman, it is polycythemia. Likewise, in the WBC, if you have low WBC, it is leukopenia, and high WBC is leukocytosis. So leukocytosis, you can see that in infection or even in malignancies such as leukemia. And platelets, either thrombocytosis if it is very high and thrombocytopenia if it is low. So ang low is thrombocytopenia, which is seen in ITP. And of course, sa coagulation proteins, you have factors 1 to 13. So yan yung nagkakos ng blood clotting natin. And if it is deficient, then you will have bleeding. Pag in excess naman, you will have thrombosis. So you will see in hematology is just a balance of what we have in the body. Kaya nga sasabi natin hemostasis, no? So balance of everything. Balance in the cellular elements and balance in the coagulation proteins. Okay, so you just have to remember that all cellular elements come from the bone marrow and all the coagulation factors are produced in the liver. And then you have your growth factors to stimulate hematopoiesis. This is in the cellular elements. Kasi sa coagulation factors, you have the different cofactors that will activate the factors. As I have mentioned, if you have anemia, which is labeled as reduction in red blood cell mass, it can be classified as either physiologic or morphologic. So ano yung physiologic classification of anemia? So 3, either you have decreased production, that's why there is decrease in the red blood cell, no? Or increased destruction. The bone marrow is producing, but there is an increased rate of destruction, therefore causing anemia. And that is usually seen in hemolytic anemia. And disorders of erythroid maturation and ineffective erythropoiesis. So what are those? Iron deficiency anemia and thalassemia. So yan ay hindi siya sometimes it overlaps, no? Kasi nga in medicine, nothing is absolute in medicine. Because look at thalassemia. It is considered as a disorder of erythroid maturation and ineffective erythropoiesis. But then again, thalassemia is a type of hemolytic anemia. Therefore, the anemia here can also be caused by an increased distraction. No? Kaya doble siya. What else? Ano pa ba ang ano dyan? Sometimes in malignancies also, no? Nakalagay dito, decreased production because, for example, the bone marrow is infiltrated by abnormal cells, therefore they cannot produce the normal bone marrow elements. But sometimes because, like for example, the spleen becomes large, then there is also some degree of increased destruction, di ba? Yung mga increased sequestration causing hemolytic anemia. So minsan nag-overlap, no? In CKD, again, because in some CKD or chronic kidney disease, there is also a degree of iron deficiency. So dito siya sa erythroid maturation, no? So nag-overlap, no? But in general, pagka tinignan mo siya, balance lang siya of production, destruction, and disorders of erythroid maturation. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, ha, so that we can address at once your queries. Now, ano naman yung physiologic classification? Ang ano mo dyan, is the degree of bone marrow production of the red blood cells in times of anemia. So yung kumbaga compensation of the red blood cell. And how will you measure the RBC production of the bone marrow? That is through the reticulocyte count. Aside from doing your bone marrow aspiration, you can also do an indirect measure, which is the reticulocyte count. So the normal value is 0.5 to 1.5%. But of course, in infants, no, babies from day 1 to day 7, mas mataas ang reticulocyte count nila, as high as 7%, which is normal. And then it goes down to the normal value of the adult by the 7th day of age, by age 7 days to 0.5 to 1.5%. But what is important is the reticulocyte production index, because if you just get the reticulocyte count, sometimes on that day, the reticulocyte count circulates in the bone marrow, in the blood for around 2 days. So if you count your reticulocyte count today, tomorrow, that same reticulocyte count will be counted again. So nagdodoble, no? So it's better to get the reticulocyte production index. And the calculation is here. Okay, so the absolute reticulocyte count over maturation correction. So how will you get the absolute reticulocyte count? It is the retic count times the patient's hematocrit divided by the normal hematocrit. Okay, so if your reticulocyte production index is greater than 2, the bone marrow is very active. So, saan makikita yan? Sa hemolytic anemia. So, if your reticulocyte production index is below 2, then it is a hypoproliferative marrow. And you can see that usually in iron deficiency anemia. But we have a table here, no, na based on the reticulocyte, on the hematocrit, no? So, if your hematocrit is 36 to 45, you can use a maturation correction of 1, meaning to say allowable yan, 1 ang iyong reticulocyte production index and down the line. So don't worry too much about the values that you see here. It's just that you know that the reticulocyte production index is a better measure of the RBC production by the bone marrow in contrast to the absolute reticulocyte count. Okay, so doon naman tayo sa morphologic classification. If you have physiologic, morphologic, meaning to say you're now going to look at the red blood cells. And the red blood cells are, ang size, normal size is around 7 micrometer and it is biconcave, correct? No? Biconcave. So that it can pass through the capillaries easily and they will not hemolyze. So, the normal is 7, di ba? 7 micrometers. So, if it is 7, that is considered as normocytic. And how will you define that in your CBC? You look at the MCV, no? So, if you have a normal MCV, sabi mo, normocytic. But sometimes, if there is anemia and the MCV is normal, it is labeled as a normocytic anemia. And you can see that in acute blood loss kasi bigla na lang nagkaroon ng bleeding, no? So, hindi naman na-affect yung size ng red blood cell. And sometimes in hemolytic anemia. Okay. Because the bone marrow is effective, kaya hindi nag-change ang size ng red blood cell. When the MCV is low, so it means microcytic anemia, so small ang RBCs. And you can see that in iron deficiency anemia as well as thalassemia. If the MCV is high, so big red blood cell, you label that as macrocytic. And that is usually seen in folate deficiency and vitamin B12. Yan yung mga megaloblastic anemias. But the rule of thumb, para mas madali nyo matandaan, in children above 7 years old, the lower limit of MCV is 70. For example, the patient is 7 years old, so 70 plus 7, 77. So ang MCV niya should not go down below 77. Otherwise, kung ang MCV niya is only 70, then you will label that as a small RBC, low MCV, and therefore a microcytic anemia. And you can think of these differentials already. Hindi ko pala makikita kung magre-raise kayo ng hand, no? Nawala kasi kayo dito sa aking screen, no? So you just interrupt me if you have any questions. Now, another way of classifying morphologic anemia, aside from the MCV, which you can see in your CBC result, is to look at the peripheral blood smear. So this is the sample of a normocytic normochromic red blood cell. So it has a central area of pallor that is around 1/3 of the size of the red blood cell. Pagka macrocytic, ayan o, laki nila compared to the normocytic red blood cell. No? Ito kasi halos kasing laki na ng lymphocyte. So that is macrocytic. And the area of central pallor is uh, also disappears. When you say microcytic, ayan ay maliliit. Sobra namang maliliit na yan compared to the normocytic red blood cell. And incidentally, this also is a hypochromic smear. When you say hypochromic, di ba 1/3 lang dapat yung central area of pallor. So parang rim-like na lang yung hemoglobin. So that is hypochromic microcytic red blood cell. When you say anisopoikilocytosis, different shapes. So merong elongated, may malaking cell, no, may ayan elongated, may spherical, may iba-ibang shape, no. So ayan pa, may teardrop pa. So this is anisopoikilocytosis, different shapes and different sizes. That is the peripheral blood smear of iron deficiency anemia or thalassemia. But most often than not, you can see target cells in thalassemia. So let me see if I have target cells here. O basta ano siya, cell na may target sa gitna, no? Almost like this, except this is not a target cell. Ayun, parang ganito, no? Okay. Okay, important in evaluating patients with anemia, of course, is a thorough history, physical examination, and a paucity of laboratories, which includes your CBC, reticulocyte count, and the review of the peripheral blood smear. So sa history, anong importante? Age, no? For example, iron deficiency anemia is never a diagnosis for babies less than 6 months of age. Ha? So walang iron deficiency anemia. Kahit sabihin mong anemic yung baby, it is not on the top tier of your differential diagnosis. Why? Because the mother gives everything to the baby. At the expense of the mother, binibigyan niya lahat ng iron for the baby not to develop iron deficiency. So for 6 months, kaya niyang i-sustain. But if there will be increased demand for iron at the end of 6 months, like wala siyang tinitake for supplementation, then the patient may develop iron deficiency anemia. Kaya di ba yung ating iron supplementation usually starts between 6 to 9 months, no? So age is very important. Gender, like for example, G6PD deficiency, no? That is a hemolytic anemia, mas common sa mga males. Race, like for example, yung sa mga Mediterraneans, di ba? Mas common sa kanila ang thalassemia. Ethnicity, sa mga Filipinos, common din ang thalassemia. Of course, as for neonatal history of jaundice, kasi it will point into a hemolytic anemia. Diet, purely breastfed infants without any supplementation are prone to develop iron deficiency anemia. You may say na, di ba nga, breastfeeding is best for babies up to 2 years of age. Yes, because the breast milk has very high content of iron, except na hindi siya bioavailable kaagad. And therefore, at the age of 6 months to 9 months of age, start ka na ng iron supplementation if the baby is purely breastfed. Tapos sa adolescent, di ba sila yung mga mahilig sa mga fad diets, no? Nagda-diet, so consider that also. Drug intake. There are certain drugs that can also cause hemolytic anemia, especially yung mga anti-epileptic drugs. History of infection can cause also anemia of inflammation. Inheritance, sabi natin kanina, yung mga namamanang sakit. And of course, diarrhea because of malabsorption syndrome. So these are the things that you have to ask in the history. In the physical examination, so pay particular attention to the skin. Nagkaroon ba siya meron ba siyang jaundice? It may point to hemolytic anemia. For fasces, like for example, frontal bossing may be a sign of congenital hemolytic anemia, especially thalassemia. But nowadays, with the practice of good transfusion medicine, hindi na sila nagkakaroon ng frontal bossing. Magaganda na yung mga itsura ng mga thalassemia natin. Because bakit ba nagkaka-frontal bossing? The intramedullary space expands because of very active bone marrow. Tapos nagkakaroon ng intramedullary hemolysis. But because nga of the advent of good transfusion, blood transfusion practice, almost na-eradicate na yung frontal bossing. Microcornea in Fanconi anemia, angular stomatitis in iron deficiency anemia, chest shield in diamond blackfan anemia, spoon nails in iron deficiency anemia, and splenomegaly in congenital hemolytic anemia because the spleen is the graveyard of red blood cells. So lalaki siya, no? Pag doon ang mga doon na de-destroy ang inyong red blood cell in hemolytic anemia. The spleen is normally not palpable. So pagka na-palpate nyo ang spleen, it means say it is 2 times enlarged already. But in a certain subset of infants, minsan maaano mo siya, mapapalpate mo ang tip. And if you see that no in a healthy newborn or healthy infant, then that's normal. Pero pagka malaki na, mapalpate mo ang spleen, then that is splenomegaly already. Now, laboratory investigation, kaunti lang talaga ang kailangan mo to initially investigate or uh, to define ano ba yung anemia niya. No? So the CBC, as I have mentioned before, reticulocyte count and the peripheral blood smear. For those na inaano mo, baka ito kasi common sa atin ang ang thalassemia, no? So you can also request after your CBC count and peripheral blood smear the iron studies and the high performance liquid chromatography. If you have history of jaundice, of course, the bilirubins and the LDH. And if you have a history of the red urine associated with pallor and intake of oxidant substances, no? Like for example, di ba ang ano natin sa G6PD, naphthalene balls or uh, fava beans or kaya biglang nagkaroon ng fever or infection, no? Then you can order for a G6PD enzyme assay. The next year would be, of course, habang ina-investigate mo dan, will be osmotic fragility test, which is a test for hereditary spherocytosis. Direct antiglobulin test for hemolytic anemia, usually positive sila dyan. And of course, ito naman for older children, mas common sa adult is the paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria and therefore a flow cytometry for that. Rarely will you require a bone marrow aspiration kasi by that time, na-refer mo na to a specialist ang iyong pasyente na hindi nag-respond with your initial treatment for the anemia and as well as genetic studies for hereditary diseases like Fanconi anemia. Okay, so let's proceed to case 1. No? Sabi natin, importante malaman yung physiologic anemia. So we have here a 2-month-old male. Nag-consult yan siguro sa pediatrician niya for vaccination. But was noted to be pale. No? So nagpa-CBC ang pediatrician and saw that the hemoglobin is 9.8 grams per deciliter with an MCV of 90 femtoliters. No? Since may anemia, basta't may anemia, ang next year mo would be to assess the production of the red blood cell, of the bone marrow, the production of red blood cells by the bone marrow. Kaya pag may nakita ka anemia by age, ang susunod na test is a reticulocyte count. So pinareticulocyte count niya, normal naman, no? And the patient has no history of jaundice and is feeding. So well baby, no? So di ba sabi natin, what is physiologic anemia? If you access the asynchronous lecture, you will notice that hemoglobin normally falls at between 6 to 8 weeks of age. Siya nag-uumpisa. Pero the period of physiologic anemia is really 8 to 12 weeks of age. No? So tama-tama, ano siya, 8 weeks of life. No? So why does the hemoglobin fall at 6 to 8 weeks of age? Number 1, pag pinanganak ang baby, di ba, hypoxic siya sa loob. But then, when the baby takes his first breath, the oxygen saturation increases. And therefore, the degree of hypoxemia also decreases, sending feedback to the kidney to produce less erythropoietin. And therefore, less erythropoietin, less stimulation to the bone marrow to produce red blood cells. So yan ang isang mechanism. Number two, may switch in the hemoglobin, the type of hemoglobin. So, pag pinanganak ka, mataas ang iyong fetal hemoglobin, which has a very high affinity for oxygen. So, as the baby grows older, bumababa na yung fetal hemoglobin, tumataas yung adult hemoglobin. So, kung less na ang affinity for hemoglobin, for oxygen, di ba, mas nire-release na niya. So, hindi na siya rin magkagawa ng mas maraming red blood cells. So, nagkakaroon din ng certain degree of anemia during that period, no? And it is called physiologic because it will not really affect or impact severely on the baby, and that the anemia will recover, no? So what reassurance and monitoring should be done? Just have to reassure the parents na the physiologic anemia will resolve after that. Latest would be the 10 weeks of life, no? You don't have to really monitor or get the CBC. Dapat nga hindi na siya kinuhaan ng CBC kasi well naman yung baby and within the period of physiologic anemia. Eh kung nakuha mo yung baby at 4 months of age na may anemia, then that is the time you really have to work up the patient. Now notice here that in premature infants, the physiologic anemia occurs, it may occur earlier, and the level of the hemoglobin is lower than the hemoglobin of full-term infants with physiologic anemia. For full-term infants, the hemoglobin level actually will not go below 9 grams, no? Pero pagka premature infants, pwede pa bumaba yan below 8 grams. So it depends on the clinical condition of the baby. So very important here is the age, kung nasaan siya. So 8 to 10 months, 8 to 10 weeks of life. And of course, if the baby is premature or full term, kasi kung premature earlier, sometimes ano pa yan, yan nga, 6 or 4 weeks of life, pwede na siya mag-physiologic anemia. Okay? And that will recover. You don't have to give any iron supplementation at that point. You just have to observe the baby. Okay, case number 2. So, di ba sabi natin, another case that you should learn is iron deficiency anemia. So, we have here a 3-year-old girl with pica. So, pica is preference for eating uh, non-food, no? For example, hindi man non-food, kasi ice. Ice, pagka meron ka, di ba, mas mahilig kumain ng ice or sometimes yung mga dirt, no? Or starch, no? So, that's pica. Diba ang buntis din may pica, may craving sila for food, no? Pero dito, kahit ano, parang gusto lang kainin, ano? So, and pallor. CBC was done and the hemoglobin was 8.5 grams per deciliter with an MCV of 65. So, mababa yan for age. So, ibig sabihin, microcytic yung kanyang red blood cell and therefore may anemia. So, this is a microcytic anemia. The ferritin is 8 micrograms per ml. So, ano ang normal ferritin for that girl? Around dapat mga more than 50 ito eh, no? So, very low. And what is ferritin? It is a storage iron. So, ang sa katawan natin, we have 3 iron compartments. Number 1 is the hemoglobin. It contains iron. Number 2, yung plasma natin. It also contains iron, especially in transferrin, di ba? And number 3 is the storage iron, which is ferritin. So sa tatlong yan, dapat normal lahat ang values. Pagka nagkakaroon ka ng deficiency, the first storage compartment that is depleted, the first compartment, iron compartment that is depleted is the storage iron, which is ferritin. When once depleted, it will deplete the serum iron before depleting the hemoglobin of iron. That is why you have iron deficiency without anemia. And you also have iron deficiency anemia. Kasi you can have iron deficiency wherein the ferritin only is low, but the hemoglobin level is normal. But once you have all of these three very low, then that is already iron deficiency anemia. There is no history of jaundice. So most likely, baka hindi ito hemolytic anemia, di ba? And the patient is feeding well. Okay. So what history supports nutritional deficiency? So may positive of history here, no? Basta may pica lang siya, which is also seen in iron deficiency anemia. So what will you ask for? You ask for the feeding history. Because a big risk factor is dietary lack of iron in the diet, no? What else? What else will you ask from the history? Purely breastfed ba siya with no iron supplementation, no? Although 3 years old now, we see patients na at 3 years old, talagang milk lang ang iniinom, no? Like for example, yung cow's milk can also cause iron deficiency, no? Kasi number one, minsan busog na sila with cow's milk, hindi na sila kakain ng other food, no? And cow's milk can sometimes cause some degree of hindi pang gastritis, no? It can also cause some degree of especially kung may cow's milk allergy, no? Okay. Also ask for history of passage of worms, no? Kasi baka naman meron kang competitor with your iron, no? So those are the things that you have to ask from the history. So why is ferritin the best early marker? As I have mentioned earlier, the first iron compartment to be depleted is the ferritin. Although in the Philippine setting, pagka ang iyong impression, no, in a clinically well child, may isolated anemia, hypochromic microcytic, tapos may risk factor siya, and your impression is iron deficiency, pwede ka namang hindi magpa-serum iron studies, no, because it is quite expensive. So what we do is to give therapeutic trial of oral iron. So you give iron. If the hemoglobin improves with replacement of iron, then that is proof enough of the diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia. If after 4 weeks hindi pa siya nag-improve, then investigate why. Is the patient really taking the iron? Is there problem in absorption? Or there are other cause of the anemia, no? So pwede tayong mag-therapeutic trial of iron. And how much will you give? Is usually at 3 to 6 milligrams. Initially, meron tayong tinatawag na therapeutic and maintenance, no? So you can give 6 mkd elemental iron as therapeutic for around 4 weeks and then repeat the CBC. Use use ferrous sulfate, no? Because it is the most absorbable form of iron at 20% of elemental. Laging i-compute nyo elemental kasi what you can see doon sa box is the iron sulfate. So get 20% of that and that is the elemental iron. And from there, you compute your 6 mkd. So around 1 week you give that, repeat the CBC. If the CBC improves, then maintain at 3 mkd for the succeeding mga around 3 to 6 months to replenish iron stores so that your ferritin will be normal already. You can also advise iron-rich diet. So ano ba yung mga iron-rich diet? Of course, liver, eggs, meat, red meat, no? But before, kasi if you're going to just prescribe iron-rich diet, the patient will need around probably several kilos of liver for them to get that 1 milligram of iron per day. So at the age na 3 years old, probably the patient will need the warming already. Our surveillance or preventive pediatrics, no? Kasi kahit naman sabihin mo walang history of passage of worms, sometimes they do have worms. And if the patient takes in excessive cow's milk, then prevent cow's milk overuse. Okay, so what are the most common causes of iron deficiency anemia? Inadequate absorption, poor bioavailability as we see in breast milk, the use of antacids or the other substances that can interfere with the absorption, antacids, tannins in tea, Di ba? Meron bang mga coffee, no? Or inaccessible or insufficient iron stores. So, kakaunti lang talaga yung iron mo because nalulus mo through bleeding. Like for example, GIT losses or menstrual losses, no? In children, especially infants, no, because of rapid growth, there is an increased need or demand for iron. Increased physiologic requirements seen also in infants and those pregnant women. Okay, this is seen in your asynchronous lecture, no? So ano lang ibig sabihin niyan? In iron deficiency anemia, lahat mababa except the red cell distribution with. Bakit mataas? Kasi konti lang yung red blood cells, so hiwa-hiwalay sila. So the width, the distribution increases, no? Malaki yung spaces in between the red blood cells. So lahat mababa. And then the iron TIBC, total iron binding capacity also increases. Why? Kasi walang iron to bind. So, mataas ang TIBC. So, yan lang ang mahalaga dyan. Lahat mababa except the RDW and TIBC. You also have the Menser index, pero hindi na halos namin ginagamit ang Menser index. But theoretically, if you compute for the Menser index, which is the MCV over the RBC count, if you get a value of greater than 13, that's more of iron deficiency, and less than 13, it is thalassemia. Because thalassemia is the first differential in a hypochromic microcytic anemia unresponsive to oral iron, to iron replacement. Okay, I have shown this also to you. So, kailan, pag nagbigay ka ng iron at the patient is really iron deficient, so there will be within 12 to 24 hours, there will be clinical improvement already. If the patient is irritable, mawawala ng irritability niya, no? Within 12 to 24 hours. Kasi di ba ang iron also is a part of your cytochromes na nagpa-power ng mga cells. Within 36 to 48 hours, there is initial bone marrow response and erythroid hyperplasia. Kaya minsan nagko-complain ang patients ng bone pains. 48 to 72 hours, there is already reticulocytosis, peaking at 5 to 7 days, 4 to 30 days. So, one increase in hemoglobin level. So, at the end of 1 month, meron siyang increase ng 1 gram pag nag-start ka at nag-reticulocytosis siya ng 5 to 7 days, after that, mag-i-increase ng hemoglobin mo kasi 5 to 7 days, di ba, mag-reticulocytosis na. So, meaning to say, at the first week, magkakaroon siya ng increase in hemoglobin by 1 gram. Every week yan, 1 gram, 1 gram, 1 gram, until normal. Pag nag-normal na, 0.5 grams, 0.5 grams ang increase. And you have to, do not stop, no? Pagka nag-normal ang hemoglobin, do not stop giving your iron. You have to continue with your maintenance to replete iron stores. So, okay, so as I have mentioned earlier, the third case would be thalassemia. For microcytic anemia unresponsive to oral iron, your first differential usually is a thalassemia, no? Whether alpha or beta. But usually pag beta, transfusion dependent yan. So most likely alpha ito, no? 7-year-old, asymptomatic, microcytic anemia unresponsive to oral iron with a hemoglobin of 9.8 grams per deciliter and an MCV of 65. No? Sabi natin kanina, for children beyond 7 years old, diba? 70 plus the age. So dapat ang lower limit of MCV niyan is 77. So low. So that you say microcytic ang kanyang anemia. Increased RBC count and the peripheral target cells. So maka talaga makakonsider mo dyan ang thalassemia. No? Now, why is there an increased RBC count in your thalassemia? May anemia ka, no? Actually, it is not the RBC count that is affected. It is the hemoglobin within the RBC. Kaya medyo mapuputla sila and maliliit. That's why it is a hypochromic microcytic anemia. But in the attempt of the bone marrow to produce red blood cell, tumataas yung kanyang red blood cell count. And why is there targeting? Ang target cells, if you're going to look at the side, di ba dapat spherical talaga ang ang red blood cells, no? But the membrane of the red blood cell folds over itself, no? Kaya pag tiningnan mo on the on one side, para meron siyang area ng target sa gitna, no? But when you look at the other side, para siyang nag-flatten, no? So that is the explanation for the target cells. And for target cells uh, to be significant, at least dapat may 30% target cells. Pag binilang mo dun sa smear, no? Kung may isa ka lang target cell, hindi siya significant. Baka ano lang yan, what do you call that? Yung sa laboratory, artifact, no? Okay. So what is the diagnostic test for thalassemia? It is hemoglobin electrophoresis. So if you suspect that, no, may microcytic hypochromic, binigyan mo na siya ng iron, isang taong mo na siya binibigyan ng iron, hindi pa naman nag-improve, then it is prudent for you to request for a hemoglobin electrophoresis. So thalassemia may either be alpha or beta, depending on the globin chain that is affected. So kung ano yung pangalan ng thalassemia, like for example, alpha thalassemia, it is the alpha chain that is defective. Either there is decreased production or abnormal production. If it is the beta thalassemia, so the beta chain is defective. Why do we have to avoid unnecessary iron? Iron, once it enters the body, andyan na siya. Hindi na siya maaalis, no? Forever nasa atin na yan. For women, fortunately, because of menstruation, pagka nag-menstruation, nakakasama yung iron, no? But for males, wala naman silang way of losing that iron pag pinasok mo na siya sa katawan, no? For pagka bigla nag-bleed ang pasyente, lumalabas din yung iron, no? Di mga phlebotomy, mga malimit mag donate ng blood, no? If you will not maintain a healthy diet and iron supplementation, if every 3 months donate ka na, kasi you're allowed to donate every 3 months, then you might suffer from iron deficiency unless you are really taking in iron supplementation or we have a very good diet. Although it will take around 3 months talaga to replenish, no? Pero, for example, donate every month, then you are at risk of developing iron deficiency anemia. Now, kung wala kang risk of losing that iron at may thalassemia ka, and then you give excess iron through vitamins, pwede ka magkaroon ng iron overload. So sabi ko before, iron, once it is inside, the body is already there. Pag nag-excess yan, it will stick to your major organs, especially the heart, the liver, the spleen, or the kidneys, causing hemochromatosis is already pathologic. So if the patient has thalassemia, avoid unnecessary iron. Pag tumaas naman, because the patient will also require blood transfusion, tumaas ang iron, you can still remove that through chelation. Before, we only have subcutaneous and IV chelation, but with the advent of oral chelators, yung deferoxamine, then mas ang compliance ng pasyente improved. Okay, so ito naman pareho lang, no? Pagka hindi ka nag-improve with iron, then that is thalassemia. So that is just the reason or the mechanism of anemia in thalassemia. I mentioned before, alpha and beta thalassemia, so it depends on the beta chain that is affected. So that is the classical thalassemia fascies, no? Frontal bossing, malar prominence, and then micrognathia, or tinatawag nating chipmunk appearance. Management of, usually kasi ang problematic is the beta thalassemia na nagre-require ng monthly or regular blood transfusion. So with transfusion, prevent age-related complication, but of course, pagka very frequent, you can also cause iron overload. So chelation, remove excess iron. Management of complication, if there is hemochromatosis, no, especially cardiac and endocrinopathy, and prevention and cure. So prenatal diagnosis that can be done, and other future therapies like gene therapy. So let's compare iron deficiency with thalassemia and anemia of chronic disease in terms of the CBC and the iron studies. So anong mahalaga lang dyan? Thalassemia, mataas ang RBC count, no? As I have mentioned earlier, minsan kasi sa umpisa, sa CBC pa lang, di ba sabi mo, baka to iron deficiency. Pero if you look closely at the CBC, Sabi mo, ba't ang taas ng RBC? So may hint ka na dyan na baka ito ay thalassemia. But it is judicious also to give a trial of oral iron. After a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, ganun pa rin. Then it is really thalassemia. Of course, tumataas ang iron and ferritin, no? Kasi hindi naman sila iron deficient ang mga thalassemia. And this is what I mentioned earlier, yung Menser index that can also differentiate thalassemia. Anemia of chronic disease is almost like iron deficiency anemia, except that the serum iron and ferritin are also high. Why? Hindi naman sila talaga deficient with iron, except that the iron is not available for RBC production because of competitive binding of hepcidin with iron pagka may chronic inflammation. So it is hepcidin that binds iron instead of instead of making it available for the bone marrow to produce red blood cells. Okay, case 4
Doc,
is a case of hemolytic anemia, specifically G6PD deficiency.
Doc, may question po ako.
Okay, sige, sino yan?
Paulo po.
Okay, Paulo.
Ask
Paano
ko
ko
lang po,
makikita?
regarding na po dun sa dun sa chart niyo po kanina, sa previous slide, at iba po dapat mataas yun sa transferrin, sa iron deficiency anemia.
Where is it?
Sa
Here.
transferrin. Yes.
No. Oh, yeah. But sometimes kasi, oo nga, tama ka. This is an erroneous slide, no? Kasi nga, available ka, mas marami kang, mas available ang transferrin mo. Because of the lack of iron. Thank you, Paulo, for correcting me on that, no? So, yung susunod na slide, papalitan natin ito. It should be green and it should be pointing upwards. Thank you very much. Anyone else? So, okay na? Okay.
Yes po.
Okay, so let's proceed. So ito naman is a G6PD case, no? So it's a hemolytic anemia. There are other types of hemolytic anemia, di ba? Thalassemia is a hemolytic anemia, but let's focus on G6PD deficiency. So we have a 5-year-old male with jaundice after fava beans or antibiotic intake. The laboratories revealed increased reticulocyte count, high indirect bilirubin, and bite cells. So ang halaga dito, sometimes kasi 'di ba pag sa newborn screening makikita mo na meron kang G6PD. So i-advise na ng pediatrician, do not eat uh, soybeans, fava beans, uh, avoid exposure to naphthalene balls, ano pa ba? If the patient develops fever or any infection, observe for any pallor, no, or red urine. Yan ang pinaka-importante. But it's quite difficult na sasabihin mo na do not eat kasi 'di ba yung toyo, ang Filipino diet is actually toyo based, no? Adobo na lang no. In Filipinos, even if the enzyme percentage is really very low, that low enzyme is very efficient, no? Very functional, no? So kahit kaunti lang yung percentage, functional siya and therefore very rare na naghihemolytic anemia because of the exposure to those oxidant stress, no? In my practice, parang dalawa lang yata ang nakita ko na nag-hemolyze because of an infection. Hindi nga sa food ang exposure nila, hindi oxidant stress ng food, but infection. So the classical history, a patient, no, may exposure, for example, nag-fever or uminom ng antibiotic, especially sulfas, no, bigla na lang nagkaroon ng red urine. And 6 hours after, the patient becomes pale, no? So that is classical. You have to bring the patient to the hospital and then give that history so that the patient will right away be hydrated to prevent acute kidney injury because the lysed red blood cell may clog the renal tubules, no? So ang kahalagahan ng ating newborn screening is sometimes hindi mo naman talaga maiwasan yung diet restrictions, but you have to advise the mothers with the G6PD deficient babies that if that occurs, then bring the patient to the emergency room and say that your son or your daughter or your son has G6PD deficiency, and the doctor in the ER will know what to do. No, first hydrate ka agad. Okay. So what is the definitive laboratory test? Anong test? Of course, you assay the enzyme, the G6PD enzyme. What is the best preventive measure? Yun nga, sabi natin is to prevent oxidant stress. But in the event that it cannot be really prevented, then watch out for the first signs and symptoms that may trigger hemolysis. Okay, so key management is stop the oxidative trigger. So kung may infection, treat the infection, but choose the best antibiotic that will not aggravate the hemolysis. Hydrate and monitor the urine output to prevent acute kidney injury. Okay, so this is the pathophysiology or the conversion of the enzyme into the active glutathione, which is a antioxidant substance. Nangyayari yan within the red blood cell. Okay, case number 5. We're nearing our end. We have been discussing for almost an hour already. So ITP, as I mentioned before, ITP is one of the bread and butter of general pediatrics. And therefore, a third-year medical student should also be aware of what ITP is. So we have a 6-year-old boy with bruises, petike. So yung petike, yung mga tuldok-tuldok na kulay pula sa skin, correct? And the CBC was done, which revealed an isolated platelet count of 20,000. So there was no jaundice. The patient was feeding well. So in a boy who is really very well, no, running about, pero puno-puno ng petike with isolated thrombocytopenia, your first impression would be ITP. Mali ang ano dito ha, mali ang question ha. Ito yung question sa iron deficiency anemia. So ano yung tatanong natin dito? Ano sa history? Of course, meron ba siyang history of 1 or 2 weeks before of any history of fever or upper respiratory tract infection or vaccination that can trigger the immune system. Kasi, di ba, ITP is immune thrombocytopenic purpura. Sometimes it's called idiopathic if you are not able to identify any inciting event, no? So for example, if you have an infection and the patient will produce antibodies against that virus or that bacteria, unfortunately, that bacteria or virus most especially, shares the same epitope as the antigens on the platelet. So, hindi niya masyado na-recognize ng antibodies, pati yung platelets na dadamay. So, yung sasabi nating innocent bystanders. So, hindi lang yung virus yung sinira, but as well as the platelets. And therefore, there is consumption, no? Babagsak yung platelet count mo, causing that petike and the bruises. So, ang tanong natin dito is, anong proper management, no? So, it depends, no? Ang management kasi ng ITP usually is observation alone. Kung hindi naman siya masyadong, if the patient does not exhibit overt bleeding, tas ang platelet count is 20, why? Because mawawala rin yung antibodies and therefore the platelets will not be destroyed anymore. So tataas yung platelets mo, no? If it will not recover, then search for other causes of thrombocytopenia. So let's see. Ano ito? Nawala ang laman. Okay, so as we have mentioned earlier, it's an autoimmune disorder characterized by immunologic destruction of an otherwise normal platelets, most commonly occurring in response to an unknown stimulus. So yung mga idiopathic, no? Any platelet count below 100,000, you can consider thrombocytopenia already. Sa laboratory, kasi pagka nagawa ka ng bleeding time and your platelet count is less than 100,000, your bleeding time is usually prolonged. Kaya hindi na natin ginagawa ang bleeding time, no? So you have primary and secondary. Pag primary, wala kang nakitang cause, no? Pag secondary, may cause yan. Like for example, you have lupus, ano pa ba? Certain immunization, nag-heightened immunologic response ang bata, minsan nagkakos ng transient thrombocytopenia, especially measles vaccine, pero nagre-recover sila. Secondary causes, ito yon yung antiphospholipid syndrome, Evans syndrome, no? So, viruses, drugs, lymphoproliferative disorder, vaccination side effect, and lupus. So, as I mentioned earlier na yan. So when it is duly diagnosed during the first 3 months, you will label the ITP as newly diagnosed. It may persist for the next 12 months, but it should recover. Pag nag-recover, then that's acute ITP. Pagka naman more than 12 months na, then you can label that as chronic ITP. So this is the difference between chronic and acute. The onset, age, history, the platelet count, the course, and the treatment as well. So, ano lang kailangan mo, ito yung parang na-mention na natin ito before, no? Isolated thrombocytopenia, decreased platelets, no? Bone marrow is unnecessary unless with atypical features. Okay. Management, sabi natin observation. But if you're going to give medicine, sila yung mga nakatira sa malayo or those with active bleeding, you may start with corticosteroids or IVIG or anti-D. Splenectomy is reserved for chronic ITP as well as the use of rituximab and thrombopag, high-dose dexamethasone, and other immunosuppressants. Okay, case number 5 is hemophilia. So we have an 8-year-old boy with prolonged bleeding post-tooth extraction. So ang kanyang PTT is also prolonged. No? So ang difference ng hemophilia, if you're going to review yung stages of hemostasis, di ba? Yung first is vascular, second stage is platelets, coagulation stage, and then hindi naman kasama actually sa coagulation, pero as hemostasis would be the clot lysis, no? So, dahil normal ang kanyang vascular, normal ang kanyang platelets, hindi siya kaagad nagbi-bleed. Unlike in ITP, in thrombocytopenia, sugatan mo siya, magbi-bleed kaagad. For those with coagulation abnormalities, medyo 3 days pa bago siya mag-bleed, no? So, kung example, binunutan mo siya today, at the end of, okay siya for that day, next day, okay siya, because the platelet plug will still be effective for the next 3 days. At the end of 3 days, maglalays na yung platelet plug. It should be reinforced by your hard clot, which is produced by the coagulation factors. Kung wala kang ganon, at the end of 3 days, magre-rebleed yung tooth site where the tooth was extracted, or meron kang delayed bleeding, no? When you take the coagulation test, platelets are normal, it's just that you have a prolonged PTT. So pagka ganyan, it speaks more of hemophilia, and what is the best test would be a factor assay. The most common is 8 or 9. So paggawa mo muna, para makatipid ang pasyente, minsan sinasabi namin is, kasi mas common ang 8 eh. So request for factor 8. If factor 8 is normal, then do factor 9. Pag abnormal na, hindi na pinapagawa ang factor 9. So para hindi masyado ang expense on the patient. And sometimes before that, kung kaya, merong mixing test na ginagawa. So you put normal plasma dun sa patient's plasma. Pagka nag-correct, then ibig sabihin, coagulation factor lang ang kulang. No? So mag-proceed ka with factor assay. Pag naglagay ka ng normal plasma dun sa patient's plasma at hindi nag-correct ang PTT, then ibig sabihin may inhibitors. So you have to search for other causes of the prolonged bleeding. So if you are able to diagnose with hemophilia, so factor replacement. Meron naman tayong available na factor concentrates, preventive physiotherapy and safe play to prevent chronic hemarthrosis and family screening and genetic counseling. Kasi nga hereditary disease yan. So this is the coagulation cascade. And you have to review that coagulation cascade. The hemostasis, no? So, una, pag nagkasugat ka, vessel injury, yan. So, mag-spasm, the platelets will go to that site to plug that injured vessel to stop bleeding. And at the end of 3 days, the coagulation factors will now come into play to turn that soft platelet plug into a hard fibrin plug, and therefore establishing hemostasis. Differences in primary hemostatic defects. So ito yung mga platelet defects, no? So kaagad magbe-bleed. Ito yung clotting factor deficiency, delayed bleeding. Petechiae ang mas common sa ITP, di ba? Dito naman, masang mga large and palpable ecchymosis and hemarthrosis. Bleeding after surgery or trauma, immediate in ITP, and delayed in hemophilia. Okay, so pareho lang ito kanina. Okay, so in hemophilia, so I think it is also included in your slides as well as the types of hemophilia. Most common is A, and if you have contact factor deficiency, which is also hemophilia type, you have no bleeding. Hemophilia C is factor 11 deficiency. So A8, B9, C11. Factor levels, no? So paano ka mild, moderate, severe? So it might require significant trauma for you to develop bleeding, ito mild trauma, and then this one is spontaneous bleeding for severe hemophilia. 1 to 5%, and less than 1% factor activity. The normal is at least you should have 50% factor level activity. Management would be, of course, factor infusion. Okay, so since kasama rin ng health promotion and referral, so ito yung mga conditions that Mandali nag-lowbat na pala ako. Baka tayo biglang mawala. Let me just charge my laptop. So you have here the conditions, different conditions. And when do you refer, and ano yung pwede mong gawing preventive measure? So in iron deficiency anemia, if you're considering that, no, iron-rich diet and deworming would be a good health promotion activity. And if you refer, kung nabigyan mo siya ng iron, refer if no response to iron. If you're considering thalassemia, of course, family, genetic counseling. If the patient becomes transfusion dependent, then refer to a specialist. For G6PD, you have to educate the relatives about avoiding triggers. And if it happens all the time, then of course, referral to a specialist. For ITP, you can advise the parents to avoid trauma or other drugs that can induce low platelet count. But if it becomes chronic, more than 6 months, of course, you have to refer to a specialist. Maganda ito pagka nasa probinsya ka nagpa-practice kasi hindi naman kaagad readily available ang subspecialist. So you can still manage these cases, IDA, thalassemia, G6PD, ITP. Hemophilia, of course, pagka ito naman, binibigay na sa inyo yan, factor prophylaxis. And work up for inhibitors if there are no response only to the factor prophylaxis. I think that's the end of my slide. So let's have a short post-test. Ay, nandito na yung answer. Sorry ha. So number 1, what parameter reflects marrow activity? Of course, it is the reticulocyte count. Dapat kasi hindi siya kasama pero di bali na, alam nyo naman na to. Which lab test best screens for iron deficiency? It is serum ferritin. And bite cells are seen in what disorder? G6PD. And when should you treat ITP? If the platelet count is less than 20 or the patient is actively bleeding. And give preventive measure for hemophilia patient is factor prophylaxis and injury prevention. Okay, so that ends my synchronous lecture. Meron lang ako itatanong sa inyo before we disband is what is one hematology topic that you'll remember from today's session. Sige. So, let me see you all. Ano daw, what hematology, stop na ba ako ng, wala na no, wala na yung screen. Apologies. Okay. Okay. It's okay, Annie. So, ang question ko is what one hematology topic that you'll remember from today's session? Sige nga, anyone would like to volunteer before I call on my class? Parang nandito yata yung mga iba ko naging class nung second year, no? Ano yung one topic that you will remember na hindi mo makakalimutan? Paano yan? Nandun sa top ko. Kasi kanina nag-recite si Paulo. Paulo Nicolas Fabros.
Doc, siguro yung concept po nun sa ITP po.
Okay. What about that?
Since may ibang mga diseases din po na parang similar din po yung presentation with
Mm.
ITP. So,
Mm.
medyo mahirap. Siguro po kapag clinically, medyo mahirap siyang
Oo.
i-diagnose.
Yeah, oo. Ang tandaan nyo lang dyan, darating sa inyo yung bata, takbo ng takbo. Pero talagang para siyang Dalmatian kasi punong-puno siya ng mga bruises. Pero clinically well siya, parang wala lang, no? And then when you do your CBC, kasi sabi mo, "Ay, baka na mababa ang platelets nito. Isolated thrombocytopenia, then your first diagnosis really is ITP. Okay, last one na, yung pinakahuli naman sa ating platform, hahanapin ko. Sino ba yung last dito? We have 13 pages, ang dami. Nasaan na siya? 12, 13. Okay. Ang last na nasa ano there is Banyes Lavain. Hi, from section A. So, any topic from here, from today's session that you will remember? Miss Banyes, are you present o nakatulog na? Miss Banyes, please unmute yourself. O baka absent. Should we label her as absent from the synchronous activity if she will not recite? O let's choose someone else, no? Baka absent siya. I don't know nasaan siya. Hindi sila hindi naka-on yung kanilang video. So ang katabi niya